Good evening, Foundation staff. Welcome to Dr. Sherman's office hours. We are hanging out here on New Year's Eve, but the Foundation never sleeps. There are always anomalous threats to be contained and anomalous threats to be learned about. So, your SCP questions are mine to answer on this calm and relaxing New Year's Eve. Both the green memes and the serpent's hand, if you haven't learned from our Lennox Mutual videos, time is relative. So whatever time you are there, the time it is here is the time it is here. Guild Dragon Gamer, hiya, and welcome to the chat. Thank you for being a channel member. The FBI is here yet again. Just let me fix that firewall. Thank you. Just stop that before it starts. Waffleonies, thank you for your dono to the Site 42 coffers. Make sure to get yourself a waffle on your way past the commissary. Jack Lupon, good to see you in the chat, buddy. Thank you for being a Site 42 member. Woo, 150 viewers right out the gate. Make sure to hit that like button so it catches up. We can't let the viewers outdo the likes. That's just against the rules. Oh, but I never answered your question, FBI. Of course, we are doing well here at Site 42. Everything is going perfectly. No problems. Knock on. Drywall, 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 fake wood. Just let me... There, I knocked on wood on the other side of the room. We're set. Guild Dragon Gamer. Is there any SCPs that can change a person's appearance or body? So, for appearance-changing SCPs, obviously the most prominent one we have is the gender-switching stone, SCP-113. And SCP-113, although completely painful, will alter your gender to the other one. It gets a little confused with non-binary identities, and it will usually do some sort of either randomizer or try to like match, but it's not exactly a very clever rock. So, and then 6113 does the same thing, but it's an entity that transes you, not a rock. But let's see what other kinds of body modifications. Obviously, we have the flesh that hates, which turns you into meat. If you want to be meat, there you go. SCPs that change your appearance. I don't know if that would be any... what tag that would be. Transfiguration. There we go. Oh, no. There are 609 SCPs tagged with Transfiguration. All right, let's try some Google foo. Maybe Google will save us here. SCP change your appearance. 3350 anomalous DVDs shape up. Instances anomalously materialize upon conditions of it being played. After 10 seconds of being played, the screen will display the phrase, "You may now change your shape." These subjects, now under SCP-3350's effects, will further be referred to as 3350-1. During this period, subjects are able to change the physical construct of their bodies by applying slight pressure to an area of the body. Pulled and stretched areas anomalously gain more massive tissue or muscle matter under the dermis depending on the force applied by the subject. Squeezed or pushed areas of the body lose mass likewise. A hand can be wiped over any known exterior bodily disfiguration to regenerate it to a degree of full functionality or to a normal state of appearance. This can include dysfunctional or completely dismembered body extremities and non-functioning external organs such as eyes, nose, and ears. Manipulations can also affect the inner anatomy of the body during more severe editing of a subject's bodily structure, which can include bone and organ mass. More intensive changes are, in certain cases, detrimental to the subject's health after they violate the activation terms of SCP-3350. Should be noted that 3350-1 subjects are not prone to any type of external bodily damage or physical harm other than their own body manipulations as long as they are within the anomalous activation terms of 3350. Once the subject violates these terms, the invulnerable effect placed on the subject will cease. The screen will then display a randomly generated positive phrase regarding how 3350-1 appears, then will follow by displaying a number of uses out of 10 that the user has left to utilize the anomaly. The current session of utilizing the anomaly has ended at this point, and anomalous functions cease until you play it again. Okay, interesting. So, there you go. I'm going to go with that's your, changing your appearance pretty hardcore. Anxious Star, thank you for your dono. First dono of the Site 42 coffer. Make sure to get yourself a kiwi when you pass by the commissary. I'm an alien, does that make me an SCP? Dr. Starry. So, aliens, extraterrestrials in our current reality are not known, and therefore they are not normal. Therefore, aliens are anomalous. Now, there may be a future down the line where aliens become ubiquitous and therefore we don't contain them. But at least for now, aliens are anomalous. But unless you are written in the SCP directory, you are not a registered SCP. So you can be an anomaly, but not an SCP. Always remember that. You're all so close, Site-42 staff. We have 117 viewers and we have 102 likes. So just that last little push to get it over the mark. You got this. Checking back to the chat. Engineer VR, good to see you. Thank you for the dono. Make sure to pick yourself up some ice cream for that headache on your way past the commissary. I'm back, but my head hurts. I hope your head works. But yes, go take a breather. Oh, and congratulations, chat. You have in fact surpassed the viewers with likes. I'll look forward to updating you as we get close to doubling the viewer count with likes, because that is how the SCP Foundation staff rolls. Walmart Bag, thank you for your first dono to the Site-42 cause, and just being a beautiful bag on the wind, I guess. Make sure to grab yourself some groceries on your way past the commissary. Engineer VR, I see a shiny rock. Do you pick it up? If so, what happens? Is this a test? Are you being tested on right now? Did they demote you to D class after last time? I told them not to do that. I told them that you shouldn't be all the way down there. But what do I know? I'm just the site director. Who asked to listen to me on the Overseers? Is the World Snake an SCP? Donovan Munford, thank you for your dono, by the way. Make sure to grab yourself some grilled snake bites on your way past the commissary. The World Snake. Jormungandr. Right? Is that how you say that? World Snake. How do you say that word? Jormungandr. Jormungandr. That's probably not how you say it. Okay, so World Snake. All right, so Jormungandr SCP. Okay, is that right there? Just that easy? Oh, SCP-722 is called Jormungandr. 722 was found in eastern glacial ranges of Greenland by Greenpeace activists. It is by all accounts a terrestrial serpent of incredible size, length, and girth, coiled through a series of tunnels of unknown origin. Most of the tunnels in 722's enclosure are completely smooth, though a few patches specifically on the paths nearest to the head and tail of the artifact are marked with some form of ancient Nordic script. All attempts to translate the script have ended in failure, and the dialogue appears to predate the settlement of the island by Eric the Red at the turn of the 11th century. No historical records exist of any previous settlement in Greenland, so the source of the script is currently a mystery. 722 is clearly in a state of prolonged slumber, and many parts of the creature's body have become embedded in the glacier, possibly due to cave-ins or parts of the ice reforming over many years. Document A. Skin seems to secrete a potent toxin, which has currently eluded all attempts at identification. Largely random symptoms on case-by-case basis. All end in death. Antidote tries have failed. B. Defensive capabilities. It's not a defensive poison, but instead be used as a weapon. The theory began to circulate based on data expunged regarding incident on data expunged. Well, I can't help you if they don't tell me! Given the misting of the poison in the northernmost edges of the glacier, the posthumous examinations of the affected, it would appear that the artifact breeds the poison in a slightly less potent but still invariable fatal form. Okay, so while that answers your question, very simply, yes, it is an SCP apparently. SCP-722. Okay, well that was easy. The Feldini, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for your dono as well as being a member. And make sure to grab yourself a big old pile of donuts on your way past the commissary. Good evening, Dr. Sherman. Do you have a particular canon you enjoy? Excellent question. Let me go over to the SCP canons list. SCP canons. The Canon Hub. So, on the SCP Wiki, there are currently 37 active canons, with plenty of stories within them. Reminder, for those who do not know, in order for a canon to exist on the Wiki, there need to be 5 stories written in the canon by at least 3 authors. So one person can't just start their own canon. You need to have a team of people working on it. But once you hit that 3 authors, 5 works, then you can have an official canon with a canon hub and a summary and stuff like that. And so, going down the list, I would say, just based on rule of cool, I'm a big fan of Aces and Eights, which is the SCP Foundation, but in the cowboy times. And the only thing I would like more is if there was a pirate-themed SCP canon. So I guess I'm just going to have to start that myself, because pirates are cool, and I want to see some buckles swashed on the high seas, anomalously. I read some stories in the AIAD back on the channel with the authors a while back, and that was a pretty good series, pretty good canon, or series within the canon. Broken Masquerade is obviously a great canon. It's very large, and it's got a bunch of very easy ideas. Oh, what if the Foundation is found out by the public? And so that makes it easy to write within and get a lot of good stories out of. I'm not familiar with a lot of them. Dread and Circuses I did a lot of work with, and I enjoyed the Dread and Circuses that I read. Do love me some Herman Fullers. So many of these I know nothing about. I've been told that I would like Those Twisted Pines, because that is the Pacific Northwest Gravity Falls-esque weird SCP stuff. Got some goofy things going on. So I got to get to that at some point. So yes, that is my list of canons that I have some association with knowing about enough whether I like them or not. The rest I am unfamiliar with. All right, back to the chat. Engineer VR, sir, can I help with research? I feel like I can fight 343. I mean, if you can fight 343 and win, then I don't want you helping with research. I want you to beat up that stuffy little jerk. Thinks he's God, so smarmy. Imagination Avenue. V1 from Ultrakill is not an SCP, but if it were. Well, thank you for donating to the channel Imagination Avenue. Make sure to pick yourself some gummy bears on your way past the commissary. And I'll take a quick peek at this. I'm unfamiliar with Ultrakill in general, but I can take a cursory look for you. What is V1? Besides a lean, mean killing machine. One of the many blood-fueled machines left to roam the Earth after the extinction of mankind, and the protagonist and player character of Ultrakill. Like its peers, it fights in hell for its own desperate survival after blood ran out on the surface, slaying all manner of husks, demons, angels, and fellow machines in order to sustain itself with the blood they shed. So, we have a blood-fueled robot, and in that case, I would imagine that we're dealing with similar containment procedures to any sort of Anderson Robotics, going as far as maybe Dr. Wondertainment. Let me see the groups of interest list. Group of interest. Anderson Robotics, obviously. Church of the Broken God has mechanical beings, and they're sometimes infused with life, so they would be good to look at for containment procedures. Any other? Prometheus Labs, there's our other robot guys. I knew there was another one. And so between Prometheus Labs, the Church of the Broken God, and Anderson Robotics, we deal with a lot of anomalous robots. So there's a lot to look at from a generalist sense. We're not unfamiliar with this. Let's see what this thing can do. Terminal data. V model was built for war, with V1 boasting a new kind of exterior plating that allowed refueling through contact with blood rather than through a separate refueling process. Due to its necessary thinness, it is far less durable, but the ability to fix itself and rebuild broken parts on the fly would outweigh the negatives on an active battlefield. However, during the prototyping phase, the new piece was established and war became irrelevant. V1's planned production was cancelled and an updated model, V2, was developed instead, using the standardized plating, since durability was far more important during times of peace when no bloodshed was necessary. Abilities. V1, as a blood-fueled death machine, is capable of moving in all directions with equal speed, can jump, dash, slide, wall jump, and slam to the ground from heights. By default, it has 3 stamina bars. Dashing allows V1 to halt its current momentum and rapidly move horizontally in a specific direction, so falling and then... Also granting it brief invincibility. Dashing costs a bar of stamina. Sliding temporarily stops stamina regeneration, does not make you invincible, but allows the player to continuously move in a single direction, though V1 is almost incapable of moving in any other direction in a slide, only being able to shift its momentum by moving left or right. It does not cost stamina, and one can chain slides for as long as they are willing to. Ground slams can be performed in the air, while slamming V1 will deal 2 damage to whatever it hits. Holding the slam button when landing creates a shockwave that launches light enemies straight up, increasing with time spent slamming and costing 1 bar of stamina. Okay, V1 can use its left arm for various purposes, mostly for punching enemies and grabbing items, though upon obtaining the Whiplash for the late V2, it can use Whiplash to grapple onto hook points. Grappling hook! Onto enemies to either be pulled to it or pull the enemies over, or to grab and place objects from a longer range. When arms are unequipped, V1 can interact with the terminal at the beginning of each level with latent telekinetic powers. But if it attempts to punch, it will be met with an error message. V1 has a unique feature shared by no other machine as of now, the ability to directly absorb blood from enemies simply by soaking it through their armor. This is the main way to heal in Ultrakill, so players will need to actively hunt down enemies to obtain fresh blood. Being built for war, making use of a wide variety of weapons. Some artwork implies that its weapons are stored in its wing-like protrusions. Yes, give me the weapons list. Piercer, marksman, sharpshooter, alternate revolver, core eject, pump charge, red variant. Attractor, overheat, red variant. Saw blade launcher, electric screwdriver. No, those are 2 things, electric and screwdriver. It's not an electric screwdriver. I almost made that mistake too. Malicious. Freeze frame SRS cannon, the Sirius cannon. I like that. That is a Doom reference to the BFG, I'm sure. I'm not sure. I'm just making that up. I'm winging it, guys. Feedbacker, knuckle blaster, whiplash, gold variant. V1, despite being a machine, is somewhat fragile, shows no signs of bleeding itself. The only time blood is ever shown on V1 is when blood splatters from enemies get on V1. Unequipping all items includes a feedbacker unlike latent telekinetic abilities, letting it use the terminal without touching it. So it doesn't seem like it can do much with this telekinesis. That's important to know. It can use a terminal, and that's about it. V1's head resembles that of a stereotypical security camera, so it probably has issues if it were to encounter the skibbity toilet. V1 appears as an Easter egg in Faith the Unholy Trinity, where it is depicted by drawing Hakita's younger self. V1's voice is software automatic mouth. The exact reason the in-game death screen used the voice synthesizer. Rating standpoint, V1 is not the main character of Ultrakill. It's just exceptionally lethal. V1's vibes are off and can be sensed by filths, or it can be sensed. V1 has a notorious reputation to the point that any encounter V1 is in is considered the greatest threat in the room. Apply that V1 was created to fight Earth Movers. They were the last machines to be built for the final war. Based on V1's firmware version, boot up sequence, created somewhere around August 6, 2112. Further implies the final war began early in the 20th century. So we'd be using future tech in our robot containment. Got it. So, honestly, I wonder... I can't see this being much harder than a standard humanoid containment cell. I don't see anything about it breaking down walls. Can this entity jump through walls? Or can we just keep this thing in a box? Because right now I'm thinking we just keep it in a box and feed it a little blood now and then and make sure it doesn't have any guns. And I think we're good to go. I don't see anything particularly difficult about this containment at a cursory glance. If we did a full episode, I would go in and dig into the lore and maybe play the game and figure it out, or at least watch some footage. But I hope that's a good intro primer to what that would be like. Melonhead, thank you for your dono. Make sure when you go to the commissary that you get anything except melon, because I feel like that would be a little weird for you. In fact, hey, tell the commissary to take melon off the menu for today. Yeah, I don't care how much you like cantaloupe. You can wait till tomorrow, all right? All right. Is there any other SCPs in SCP-3008 other than the employees? So, it is not unlikely that in the infinitude of SCP-3008, other anomalies have gotten in. Now, in our documentation that I'm familiar with, the 3008 documentation doesn't list any other anomalies, but if I go into one of my favorite things on the wiki, which is the series Tales Edition, then SCP Series 4 Tales Edition, you can see all the tales that are associated with an anomaly. And so right now, SCP-3008 has 5 tales associated with it. And so of those 5 tales, I know your call is important to us, because we've read that for the channel. And that one has circus clowns from Herman Fuller's who go supply running inside the IKEA. So I know there are anomalous clowns in there. Clowns that you need to milk or else they explode. But beyond that, let's see what we've got in these stories. Jala, The Drooling Path Part 5, 9 Tales from the Cataverse, Some Are Born to Endless Night. And very quickly down, what is an AO tale? I don't know what an AO tale is, and the tag doesn't help me. So I don't know that any other anomalies are in there, in that story. The Drooling Path Part 5, going into the IKEA. It looks like... Who'd I see? Okay, that's not in the IKEA. That's not in the IKEA. It doesn't list any anomalies in the IKEA on a quick skim. I'm moving on. 9 Tales from the Cataverse. The Infinite PetSmart, filled with anomalous cat employees. Okay. And then Some Are Born to Endless Night. In the IKEA. It's just tagged with tail. Okay, this one doesn't list any anomalies in the IKEA either. So I'm going to have to say probably, but not that we know of besides the milkable clowns. Engineer, sir, I want to... Oh, I see a very shiny rock. You enjoy that rock, my friend. Oh, Site 42 staff, we have an update. We are currently at 96 viewers, 105 viewers, and 168 likes. So if you can get that over 210, we'll have doubled the viewer count with our likes. Good luck, Site 42 staff. I believe in you. Scorching Flame to Ashes. Thank you for your first dono to Site 42. Make sure to grab yourself a big old bag of potato chips on your way past the commissary. The Dungeons of Fear and Hunger aren't an SCP, but if they were. I've been watching a lot of Fear and Hunger content. You all know why. It's iPatchWolf's fault. And I've been enjoying it greatly. I don't know a whole lot of the lore, to be fair. I've just been watching the streams, and he doesn't get too much into that. But they are a shifting... geography dungeon. There's a lot of anomalous entities in there. And for the SCP Foundation to contain such a thing, it would be a lockdown of the area surrounding the entrance. That would be first. We'd want to make sure that we locked up the entrance so no one could get in. Probably a big ol', I'd say, several... What's the measurement? It's not like a 3-mile radius. That would be too much. But how much do we shut down the IKEA? That's a good comparable amount. 3,008. The retail park containing SCP-3008 has been purchased by the Foundation and converted into Site Blank. All public roads leading or passing Site Blank have been redirected. Okay, so that's not really good because that's in a retail park. So we'd want something a little more, since the dungeon and the castle and all that seems to be in its own area. So I need an anomalous castle or something to count the same. Wait a minute. Anomalous location, castle. There's a house. There's a house. Grigory Karpin. Grigory Karpin. You have an SCP for this. Where's your author page? SCP Grigory Karpin, friend of the channel and creator of the Simply Creative People podcast, along with author Harry Blank. They are excellent SCP authors, great tales, and oh my god, what is that? I'm going to move this so maybe you can see it over there. Go back. Oh, look at that. Look at that gorgeous artwork there. Or go to Grigory Karpin's author page and see it better. We're streaming from a phone. We don't have the highest technology over here in this department. So, that being said, what are your SCPs? Standalone? No, it was part of a story. These are tales. Where are your SCPs? There you go, buddy. Not all gods decompose. His first SCP. So, the reason we did so much of this is because this is an estate. And so, due to extreme difficulty relocating 4612-A, a perimeter maintained by a barbed wire fence has been established around Provisional Site 91. The site is a converted 18th century manor in Yorkshire, England, commonly referred to as Eckert House. So, this doesn't list how big the perimeter was, but just assume that we'd make the right perimeter, okay? Okay, give us that, all right? We'll make the right perimeter to contain the dungeons of fear and hunger. Because if we can keep people from getting into the topside entrance, then they can't go down. And then we have no problems. Then it's fine. And, from there, we'd be looking at the situation of sending in mobile task force down to explore and get relics and find out stuff and get horribly, horribly murdered. You know how it is. And so that is likely what would happen if the Dungeons of Fear and Hunger aren't an SCP, but if they were. Dr. Biohazard, thank you for your donation to the Site-42 coffers. Make sure to get yourself a cool glass of radioactive juice on your way past the commissary. Engineer VR, sir, I want food. There's a commissary, VR. Go get some. Herity last name, thank you for your first donor of the Site-42 coffers. Make sure to get yourself a big, tall glass of melonade on your way past the commissary. Wait, no, don't get melonade. We took melons off the menu today. Get a Diet Coke. Where did 682 go? Oh, you see, I haven't heard of any containment breaches of that today. I think the problem is what you're seeing is a big acid bath full of bones. And so it'll grow back. Don't worry about it. Engineer, Little Dragon, I swear to 343. I'm not sure I know what that means, but it worries me. Lauk, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself a quiche on your way past the commissary. I did try to make my SCP POV thing, but CGI takes time and I never got anywhere, but you can watch all the shorts in a playlist. Well, if people want to see that, then they can go see that. Hurry last name. Where did 682 go? Still in the acid bath. Don't you worry. Still there. Still there. Billy Bob Barnaby, thank you for donating to the cause. Make sure to get yourself some biscuits and gravy on your way past the commissary. What's the closest SCP-682 has been to death, and what caused it? So, in writing, we always employ tropes or cliches, but a trope is like a cliche, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the same common connotation of being bad like cliches do. But a trope is, go read Treevee. Treevee? I'm getting mad at the tree already. TV tropes, and learn more about writing and the different tropes of fiction. But the reason I bring that up is because there's one that we call getting wharfed. Getting wharfed is when you have a big, burly, strong thing, and it's the best, strongest fighter guy, and the way you make the the new bad guy look awesome is that he really easily knocks out the big, strong wharf guy. And so it was named that because Worf from Star Trek The Next Generation was constantly getting, I'm the big burly guy, and then getting thrown across the room to show how badass the new bad guy was. So we call it getting wharfed. And the reason I bring it up is because I know for a fact that SCP-682 got wharfed by the Hateful Star at one point. And so that is at least one time where it did actually perish. Beyond that, most damage SCP-682 has taken is really hard to tell because that list for 682's testing log is enormous. And infinity things happen in there. Things are always being added. And that means that it would be quite difficult for us to figure out exactly what was the worst. And of course, this all depends on your canon of exactly how tough you think 682 is. Because sometimes people treat it like it's immortal, it's unstoppable. But some people treat it like it's just hard to destroy, which is its title, so that's probably closer to the correct. All right. Oh, my SCP Lo-Fi stopped. Let's bring it back. So, continuing on. The rock is very crunchy, sir. Engineer, you wanted food. Rocks are not food. Unless you are an entity that eats rocks. Then, in fact, a rock is food, but that's up to you. SCP-999, you have not fed me today. It's not my turn, okay? Yeah, you have your handler go to the commissary and get you some dog food as a thank you for your dono. And, yeah, not my anomaly, not my problem. That's what I say. Harati last name. Dr. Sherman, where did 682 go? It's still in there. I see its bones. I don't see its bones on the monitor. Who took its bones? It's going to regenerate unless we put those bones back in the acid. Jeez. Okay. All right. Security is looking for the bones. I give them about T-minus 24 minutes until 682 becomes conscious and mobile. So, in about 24 minutes, we'll see if we're calling a site disaster, if they can get those bones back in the acid in time. I've got my fingers crossed. Engineer VR ate a rock. Well, as long as you're not hungry anymore, good on you. Zoot 0, I killed SCP-049. Well, I thank you for your dono, and I hope you get a taco on your way past the commissary. Let's pull up his security feed. All right, the Red Lake researcher can wait. And I don't know. I don't think SCP-049 is that dead. It's just working. But, you know, maybe you killed another random plague doctor. Who knows around here? Engineer VR, I feel like I'm going to explode. Is that what happens when you eat rocks? Did you eat Pop Rocks? You ate Pop Rocks, didn't you? Oh, you shouldn't have had that Diet Coke earlier, I warned you. Okay, well, we'll get insurance to cover your funeral. Cry for 1471, cry. I do in my heart cry for the art that is made of 1471. It's just a creepy anomaly, trying to live its best creepy life, and people are getting real weird about it online. As do all fandoms. The OG Gremlin, thank you for your first donor of the Site 42 coffers. Go get yourself a Slim Jim on your way past the commissary. Engineer VR. Sir, remember 8 random fruits that made me a dragon? And can dragons not eat rocks? Is it Pop Rocks engaging with your dragon acid that makes the fire happen? That's a really confusing concoction of scientific methods you're dealing with there. So consider yourself to, maybe if you're not exploded yet, you should head to the med bay. Harati, cry for 1471 again. Doctor last name, I continue to weep in my soul for the poor, poor creature. The OG Gremlin, I forgot to send a message last time and I found a cool SpongeBob watch in a locker for my son. It was labeled SCP-1808, so I will give it to him. Finding SCPs and giving them to children is a long-honored tradition of getting rid of children you don't want. So if that's your plan, then that's something. What does this do? 1808 is a collective designation for 6 yellow plastic wristwatches decorated with green polka dots and images of SpongeBob SquarePants. Main anomalous property manifests when it's worn by a human being or any other creature possessing limbs and phalanx bones. Once affixed to a subject, 1808 can only be removed by the individual who originally fastened it. Every quarter hour, 1808 will play a soundbite of a SpongeBob character's distinctive laugh, and the distal, intermediate, and proximal phalanges, bones of the fingers and toes of the limb upon which SCP-1808 is worn, will grow in length by approximately 6 centimeters. The growth will continue every quarter hour until either 1808 is removed from the subject or 1808's adjustment knob is retracted, halting the watch's timekeeping functions. Subjects experience little to no blood loss when the phalanges penetrate the subject's flesh. However, afflicted individuals have reported the growth to be immensely painful. Well, I do believe that you probably shouldn't give that to your child unless you don't like them very much. But it is against Foundation policy, and we will have to redact it to you. So if you don't want that, I suggest you change your mind. SCP-049T, thank you for your first dono to the stream. I need CD to test now, Dr. Sherman. You lost your testing privileges, and you know what you did. You know what you did. That is the most testing you are allowed to do, is writing in your little journal in French. You saucy Frenchman. Make sure to grab yourself a bird's nest on your way past the commissary. You know, those little fried vegetable bird's nests? They're so tasty. Just no bodies for you. SCP-999, Sherman, it is your turn. I'm pulling up the staff roster. I don't believe you, 939. Feeding 939 duty. Feeding protocol. 4 kilograms of meat. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Steve. That's right. It's Steve's job today. That's what the duty roster says right here. Right in front of my eyes. It says Steve's turn. Hey, Steve, you heard me. Go feed the 939s. You know, Steve. Always forgetting things. Imagination Avenue. Hugging contest. SCP-999 versus Jigglypuff. Who wins? So, I think this is a pretty easy win. Because number one, Jigglypuff is always really grumpy. And therefore doesn't really want to give a lot of hugs. In fact, it just wants to smack people. Also, it has very tiny little arms. Not very good for hugging. Meanwhile, SCP-999 has no arms. But it is amorphous and can wrap around you for very thoroughly encircled hugs. Plus, it loves hugging because it's a very happy boy. Very happy slime boy. So, no question at all, 999 gives way better hugs than Jigglypuff. The Feldini, security of the commissary. People are spiking the punch. Is there a party at the commissary? Huh. No one told me about any party at the commissary. Dr. Last Name. You didn't type a message that time. Engineer. Sir, I will breach containment if you don't give me hey chat, what should I demand? I'm going to send a team to tranquilize Engineer VR right now. Don't worry about it. Zoot, 0. If I could control reality, would I be an anomaly? Well, not really. You see, all of us have the ability to control reality in our own 2 hands. You can make your dreams come true and manifest victory. Work hard, achieve your goals, and make reality your bitch. Engineer, I demand more pop rocks. Denied. Trans Gamer, can you ask the tree to scream? Well, thank you for your first dono to the stream. And since you asked such a ridiculous question, you can have some of Matt Pat's pine tree falafels at the commissary. That's right. I'm going to have them cook them up for you special. Since you asked such a silly question about the tree. Of course we've asked it to scream. Zoot Zero. Also, I killed a different 049. It wasn't our 049. Ah, I see. Well, I mean, don't do that. Because I'm still trying to go from universe to universe to make them all wear the cat-made waifu outfit. And if you kill them, then I cannot make them suffer. Wait, where is SCP-096? SCP-049T? You do not have to worry about where 096 is. 096 is in its box. Maybe you didn't recognize it because it has a bag on its head. That's how we keep it from getting seen while it's on site. Don't worry about it. Sir, I'm going to breach containment. Give me pop rocks. Denied, engineer. Go to the med bay for your terrible pop rock acid stomach and lay down. Site 42 staff, I do not wish to alert you. But right now, we are at 219 likes and 136 viewers. So if 50 people in the chat were to hit that like button, then we would double the amount of viewers on this screen with our likes. And that would be a pretty SCP thing to do. Anomalously large amount of likes. That's what we like to study. Jack Lupin, what happens if you put a photo of someone in the Clockworks and set it to very fine? Have we ever put a photo in 914, I wonder? Testing log. We're checking the testing log. Experiment log. It's so long. I've gotta check them all. This is gonna take me forever. Hopefully I find it in one of the early parts. Control L. Why? Why do you do this to me? Each one has so many files. Please have a photo in the first one. There we go. There we go. All right, so when they put 3 copies of all documentation, photographs, and test logs accumulated in relation to 914, they got a full, they did on 1-to-1, they did on fine, and you wanted it on very fine, I think? Very fine. What did it do with those documents? It made a single sheet of paper. Weight is exactly the same as the entered documentation. The sheet appears to be a single page from the entered SCP-914 documentation. However, when flipped over to the right, the reverse side is the following page. When you flip the page over to the left, the opposite side is the preceding page. So you can keep flipping it, and it can keep turning the page. That's very interesting. Let's see what the next photo is. 5 8.5 by 11 copies of the Mona Lisa from a printer. And on very fine, it spawned a 7 by 10 copy of the Mona Lisa painted on onto wood panel, identified to be poplar. Paint samples tested to be oil paints made from beeswax, calcined bones, piled glass, and mineral pigments, with indications that pigments were hand ground. Further testing suggests painting dates to the early 16th century. Output now resides on the wall in Dr. Clopine's office. So, there's a lot of effects. It has to do with what photos you put in, if you put in something with the photo. But that is pretty straightforward. So, good. And I learned it on the first page, so I didn't have to go through 20 gosh darn pages with 10 collapsibles each. That's the way. I like it. Congratulations, chat. You have done it. 255 likes to 123 viewers. We didn't hit the 270, but that's fine because the viewers went down. Although if we can surpass that even further, maybe get some triplage in there, that would be a good vibe. Good luck, Site-42 staff. Where are we in the stream? Yeah, I'm tired. Engineer, go have a nap in the medbay then. That's exactly what you want to do. SCP-049-T, thank you for the $1 dono. Has SCP-999 ever accidentally killed someone when having a tickle fight? Because although it will stop if you ask it, you can't really speak when you're laughing. So, on our records, no, it has not tickled anyone to death. But, can you be tickled to death? Depending on its intensity and duration, tickling can in fact lead to death from asphyxia, brain aneurysms, or other stress-related injuries, as people are unable to regulate their breathing under the stress of tickling. In essence, what is fun and games for one may cause panic attacks for the other. So, that is the first Google result, and you would have to be particularly extra strength tickled, and I don't think that 999 is being that intense. Which, thank you for reminding me, by the way, with that question. Who was that? That was Stargazer Elite. Thank you for your question, because I can now remind you that now, if you look in the chat and you are a Site-42 member, you can throw down some SCP-999s in the chat, as well as some SCP-049s. We got the vote done on the member emojis, and 049 and 999 won by far. That means that 4521 and 3086 will wait until we have enough members to add them in, and then we'll add them in as well. But yes, I hope you have fun with your membership for that. Trans Gamer, can you use 294 for the tree to scream? Is that what I think it is? So, I can't imagine what liquid, because it is able to deny requests, and liquid that makes tree scream seems like kind of a reach. But I'll add it to the testing docket. It's not a, we'll try anything once. OG Gremlin, thank you for your dono. I'm going to give him Pop Rocks. My son knew. Nice coat. Thank you for the coat compliment. Please don't give the dragon more Pop Rocks. It's trying to nap. Or it should be trying to nap. Lil Dragon, hey Dr. Sherman, thanks for making my day better. My dog ran away, but she has been spotted. She's been gone since 3 p.m. and now it's 8:34. Thanks for making me happier. I am very happy to hear that your dog has been spotted, and I wish you the best of luck in retrieving her, because that is a heartbreaking and terrifying situation. So, very, very good luck on regaining possession of your dog. Gil Dragon Gamer. Doc, I can summon villains from cartoons, Batman comics, and video games. Well, then you're going in a box. And since you're summoning chaotic entities, I'm going to assume that we're going to have to put you into a medically induced coma so you don't do bad things. So thank you for your confession. Enjoy your time in containment. Engineer, Pop Rocks, I heard Pop Rocks. You didn't hear Pop Rocks, go back to bed. You said you were tired. What is your opinion on SCP-7960? I am unfamiliar with SCP-7960, so I do not have an opinion, but I can take a quick peek. Alright, we got a koala. A taunting koala, okay. One Foundation personnel will remain bonded to 7960. Once bonded, this personnel is not permitted off-site. Their primary duties as Foundation staff will not be affected by this arrangement. SCP-7960 is a koala that demonstrates average human intelligence. While it is biologically indistinguishable from an ordinary koala, the entity is capable of vocalization and comprehension of English language. 7960 is remarkably durable, as all attempts to harm the entity do not result in any observable damage. 7960 bonds itself to a single individual clinging to their body. While 7960 can be physically removed from the individual's body, the entity will reappear on the host body, necessitating the outline containment procedures. Once bonded, 7960 will bombard the host with deprecating remarks. It is stated that its grand objective is to improve the host through negative reinforcement. The Foundation observed that SCP-7960 is largely ineffective. It will remain bonded to a host until their death, upon which a successive host will be named. If no host is named, 7960 will bond itself to the nearest individual. 7960 came into the Foundation's possession after the discovery of a mail-order advertisement in a June 1957 issue of Rifle Kid Fun with Guns, an American comic book released by now-defunct publisher Odyssey. A transcript of the ad has been replicated below. That's not a monkey on your back, kiddo. That's self-improvement koala. Did you know that you're the problem? Prepare to be reminded. Once he's activated, no more little boy. It's time for a little man. There's only one self-improvement koala. He is forever. $2,000. The mailing address listed alongside the advertisement was made out to the offices of Group of Interest 323, Better Youth, a known distributor of occult goods. 7960 was purchased by the Foundation and immediately bonded with Area 179 sanitation head Paul Duffy, who was closest to the entity when it was being removed from the wooden crate it was shipped in. Duffy served as the containment specialist for 7960 up until his death in 2022. Ian Wu, an intern who served under Duffy, had willingly volunteered to become 7960's next host, who was fully briefed on the specifics of its containment procedures prior to acceptance. Selected interactions have been included below. Editing document, 7960 slowly crawls into the room, begins to climb Wu's body. Oh, hey, buddy. Hi. You're bad at your job. Yeah, I'm trying. You are bad at your job. The average American types at 90 words per minute. Your typing speed is 30 words per minute. Hold on, I'm thinking. You are bad at thinking. Wu is presenting a report before a panel of researchers. Wu stands in front of a slideshow. 7960 clings to his back. And so, the crux of Dr. Carlton's research here states that every anomalous event can fit into a versatile model, named the "You are bad at public speaking." Named the 4-point way module. Eliminating filler words such as and from your vocabulary will make you a better person. You are still an intern because you are naturally uncharismatic. The first variable that needs to be obsessed is underlying chance. Assessed! Which states that underlying chance refers to grander metaphysical implications surrounding an anomalous event. Wu was silent for several seconds. He closes his eyes and exhales before continuing. Please stop. You are bad at convincing me. Wu is using a microscope to aid in the research of an experimental artificial microbe. Wu leans over the microscope. The entity sits on the counter beside him. The entity turns the microscope off. Don't use this. Turn it back on. Don't do this now. You are bad at seeing. Fuckhead, turn it on. Prehistoric men with bad eyesight would have not been able to detect predators in the distance. You and your bloodline would have died. Please? Seriously, turn it back on. Men used to go to war. Now they wear glasses. Wu angrily grabs 7960, lifting it. Weak men kill animals. Do better. Fucking pointless. I can't do this shit. Wu calls over a lab assistant to analyze the microbe, moving away from the counter. 7960 materializes on his back. It points to the assistant. She is good at science. Wu is watching television inside his dorm. You are bad. At what? Everything. Wu lunges from the couch, attempting to strangle 7960. The entity hisses and claws, scratching him. You motherfucker, you scratch now? If a woman saw you lose a fight against a koala, she would lose all interest in you, sexually. You would no longer be able to function as a man. If you had sex, I would make comments and refuse to leave the room. This is why you're afraid to approach women. Wu moves into the kitchen, gasping as he washes out his wound. What the fuck is with you and the sexism? I'm good at understanding the world. What the hell? Wu is attempting to study for an exam, intended to gauge his competency as Foundation staff with potential to be given a promotion. Wu flips a page and types out a note. You are going to fail. Wu increases the headphones of his volumes. the volumes of his headphones. You are going to fail. Wu reaches toward his ear. 7960 rips off his headphones, breaking them. What the are you fucking kidding me? Those were $100 headphones, and I'm trying to study so I can get ahead in my career. Wouldn't you want that? Do you want me to fucking fail? I'm trying to improve myself. You're literally the problem. There are people that are younger than you that make more money, have more sex, and are more successful. You already failed. Did you do this to Duffy? Serious. Yes, but he was bad at self-improvement. That's why he died. Well, oh, this gets dark at the end. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, you can read the article to get the finale there. Call that a cliffhanger. But my opinion is, Jesus Christ, man. Also, that would be a hilarious SCP for any SCP content creator to play with. Because all you need is a koala plushie. And you can argue with a koala plushie. It would be very funny. Is all I'm saying. Maybe I need to get a koala plushie and I can start arguing with 7960. Engineer VR. Oh, no pop rocks. That's right. Go to bed. 939. I want time at 999. Also, I want pop rocks. Why does everyone want pop rocks tonight? And no, because you're going to eat the 999 because you haven't been fed yet. Because Steve is going so slow. So, no, not tonight. Wait, I found an electrical box. Should I hit it? I'm going to hit the box. It's pitch black here now. Well, you made your bed, engineer. Also, very ironic name for you to not have proper treatment of the electrical box. Maybe do better. Guild Dragon Gamer. Doc, if I'm an SCP, I will give you some info about my powers. Well, we would like to do that during a testing scenario, so let's do that. Oh, did I miss something? What did I miss? Where is it? It says someone became a new member, but I do not remember thanking someone for becoming a new member. So whoever you are, thank you for being a new member to Site 42. I hope you enjoy the new emojis. Throwing out some sweet, sweet rage at all of the shenaniganery going on in my site tonight. Have you ever heard of Lobotomy Corporation? I think you could make an interesting video on it. I have only ever heard the name. I do not know anything about Lobotomy Corporation. In fact, let's do myself a favor and just look at the first paragraph of the Wikipedia and see what Lobotomy Corp is. It is a game. That's one thing. I knew it was a game. I did know that much. Oh, Site 42 staff, I want to congratulate you. We're at 135 viewers and still doubling that in likes at 277. Good work, team. I commend you. Now, if you want to get that to 3 times and get that up in the 300s, the 390s, well, that would be just a gold star achievement on your record. All right, tell me about Lobotomy Corporation. Indie horror roguelite strategy game. Management simulation. Gameplay. Story. The player, who is referred to as X, is the manager of an underground power company called Lobotomy Corporation that harvests energy from strange beings and objects known as abnormalities. They are tasked with overseeing the process and must command their employees to work on these abnormalities in order to fill the daily quota of energy, but also must suppress them in order to place them back in their containment if they breach. The premise is inspired by the SCP Foundation, a collaborative web fiction project about a secret organization that contains and studies supernatural anomalies in research facilities. Other inspirations include television series Warehouse 13 and horror comedy film The Cabin in the Woods. Well, I do like all of their inspirations. So, that is, so they're powering the world with anomalies. I wonder, are they known by the general public? Because then that must be a broken masquerade scenario. But interesting. They are... What systems are they on? They're on Windows. So when I get a gaming PC, maybe that's one of the games we put in that's SCP-like games that Dr. Sherman will play. Because once I get a gaming setup and we can do like gaming streams, then we could do both series about games that are SCP related and series about games that are not SCP, but they are like inspired by SCP. Like we could do Lobotomy Corp. Lethal Company is the new one that I keep hearing about that's very similar. Control, obviously. There's a lot of good SCP games and SCP-like games that we could try out on stream. Dr. Sherman, the tree didn't scream, it just rizzed up my wife and now she left me. That's rough, buddy. If Mariah Carey was an SCP, how would you contain her since she is able to break out every year? We're trying, okay? We try so hard and get so far, and in the end, it doesn't even matter because she gets out every time. Same with her counterpart in the jazz community, Michael Bublé. Just can't keep those guys in a box at Christmas time. But next year, oh, next year we're going to succeed. I can feel it in my bones. Jack Lupin, is gorillas considered anomalous? Huh. Does the band Gorillaz have any anomalous properties in their lore? I recently saw a video by, I think it was Lady Emily, that was all about Gorillaz lore. Let me make sure I've got that right creator for you if you want to go find it. Yeah, Lady Emily did a hour-and-a-half video on Gorillaz' career and lore. And so that's pretty cool. Then you should watch that video if you like long video essays. I love long video essays. I watch them all on 2x speed, and I just zoom through them. But, okay, so I learned a lot about Gorillaz' lore there. And I think someone came back from the dead, which would make them anomalous. And so, backstory Gorillaz. Full lore breakdown, phases 1 through 7. Sheesh. Murdoch was this dude who lived with his dad and was raised in theater his whole life in England. Stu Pot Tootie was this dude who worked at a music store in the same town. One day in 1997, Murdoch wanted to start a band. Decided to rob the music store Tootie worked at. Crashed his vehicle into the building to make for a distraction, and in doing so damaged Tootie's eye and put him in a coma. Instead of going to prison, Murdoch was sentenced to take care of Tootie for up to 10 hours a week. Being as reckless as he was, he would often take Tootie out on rides. And one day while trying to impress some girls, Murdoch crashed his car, sending Tootie out the window, damaging his other eye, waking him up from his coma, hence the name 2D. Around this time, Murdoch bought an abandoned building called Kong Studios to start recording music. He liked 2D as the keyboardist and vocalist and himself as the bassist. He set out to find a drummer named Russell. Russell was this black dude who lived in Brooklyn. And one day while hanging out with his friends, a drive-by shooting occurred. This lore is pretty weird, guys. This is absurd. All his friends, okay. Does anyone, this is, okay. That's a lot. This was a fun gimmick, but I'm not going to sing all of this. But I don't think anyone is anomalous in gorillas. I don't see any. Oh! She was part of a super soldier project that went bad. All right, that settles it. There's a super soldier serum. That's not public knowledge. So unless it was the government and it's theirs, we would contain and check on that. That was wild. Transgamer, thank you for the dono. And were you a member when we started this stream? If not, then you were the new one, and thank you. I'm not sure who the new one is yet. How would you contain Freddy Krueger if he was true? Frederick Krueger. Ah, that jerk. So, we know that when less people know about Freddy Krueger, they can't dream of him. So, it's amnestics all the way down. Freddy Krueger, we would just make sure to amnesticize anyone who had ever heard of him. If we start to hear about on the internet about Frederick Krueger, we would hunt him down and amnesticize anyone who was posting about it. The Parawatch Wiki would be the place to look because they're always posting about supernatural stuff. And when our web crawlers found it, we would go poof, and then they would forget, and eventually Freddy Krueger would be a thing of the past. Now, of course, we would keep 1 to 5 people in the Foundation D class who knew about Freddy Krueger. Because of course, we're not trying to get rid of Freddy. We're just trying to contain Freddy. So we put him in a box. We put those guys, the only guys who know about him in the world, in the box. Now, of course, that would also mean that the people who are running this project, the SCP Foundation staff, would have to not know about Freddy or have very limited knowledge, because then Freddy could get them. So they would have to know something's going on, but they would have to be warned that it's super classified. Very interesting, that last little bit. Huh. I like that. That'll make for a good SCP story. Oh, and I figured out what I can do. I can go to the main YouTube studio and... Hey, it is Transgamer who's the new member. Thank you, Transgamer, for being our new member today. Or at least our new member on this stream. Is there an edible SCP? Well, Stormy Century, if you mean SCPs that you can eat, there's all sorts of anomalous foodstuffs. If you mean like a weed edible, then I do not believe we have one. SCP marijuana. So obviously, okay, there's a anomalous strain of Cannabis indica, a plant superficially resembling cannabis in terms of smell, appearance, and THC content. Negates the perception of alternative hallucinations. 420-J, obviously. Cannabis products are strictly prohibited on the containment floor, but that's not the anomaly itself. So no, we do not have that kind of anomaly on site. Not a bad question to check, though. Dr. Sherman, I hugged 049 and lived. What does that mean? Well, my assumption would be that either you are immortal or you are a sentient and cognizant zombie. And so either you are already dead and therefore can't be killed, or you are unkillable. Those are pretty much the only two options. So what is your status on being a zombie? Duckshade. Dr. Sherman, I request you to tell us, despite he isn't, but if he was, how would the SCP Foundation deal with William Afton? So, Site 85. You will find on the Site 42 archives here, on the Site 42 Red Division, that we have covered FNAF 1 and 2 in our if FNAF was an SCP, or if X was an SCP, but it isn't, but if it were. What the why'd I give it such a complicated name? I love complicated names. So we have done 2 of the games, but we haven't gotten up to even games where William Afton was known to exist. So with that in mind, I still need to do more research, but he is just a dude in the beginning, so easy, put him in a box. He makes anomalies, but he wasn't an anomaly at that point. When he became Springtrap, I would assume that, I mean, he stays pretty well in a box. It's not like he's breaking down walls. So we put that in a box and it's fine. And with the whole glitch trap stuff, we need to both keep the circuit boards and all the stuff that contain him in containment boxes and keep an eye out for memory infection. That would be the other thing to do. Dragonheart. Hello, Dr. Sherman. I love your videos and all of SCP. Well, I'm very happy for that. Thank you. I'm glad I made it to this live. I have a question that I want you to answer. What happens if SCP-096 looks at its own face? Is it blind? So, SCP-096 whole thing is it doesn't want people to know its face. It doesn't want people to see its face. I assume that this is not like... I assume it knows what it looks like. Otherwise, it wouldn't be sad about other people knowing. It knows what kind of... It doesn't like its face. I'm so hideous. So I assume that looking in a mirror would not cause it to trigger itself. Is the SCP work... Oh, it went away. Darn chat flew away. This is why members and super chats are so helpful, because the chat glitches and jumps. Where are you? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Cannot sleep, I cannot dream tonight. How would you contain the Liger Zero from Zoids? I haven't thought about Zoids in so long. Model kit lines, Star Zeta, mid-original release, animated series. All right, let me do a quick Google on Liger 1. Was it 1 or 0? Was it 1 or 0 you were asking about? You were talking about Liger 0. Sorry, that was my mistake. Liger 0! Liger 0 is a lion-type Zoid, one of over 200 species of biomechanical life forms that form the Zoid race. Please get this off my page, Phantom Wiki. You do so many advertisements. I'm so tired of you. It is the protagonist Zoid and hero Zoid in both Zoid's New Century and Zoid Furzers. Okay. Media appearances, anime, manga, video game, models, variants, overview, battle story appearances, media appearances, Genesis, manga. All right, the Phantom Wiki is not telling me anything about what Liger Zero can do. They showed me a lot of Zoids. They showed me a lot of ads for not giving me any information. Liger 1 Zoid's abilities. So yeah, it definitely blows up thick armored robots. So pretty hard to contain there. I apologize, Jack. This one's going to take a lot more research than I can do at this point, because it's I'm not getting a lot of intel right now. Amber, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member as always. Dr. Sherman, the doctor is out and about, but does it count if they're in their own box? Their own box doesn't count as containment. That box goes everywhere. It is completely frustratingly out and about. So, yes, its box should be in containment too. Its box is also anomalous. I wonder if they'd be a -1 and a -2, or if it would be a differently classified anomaly. Dr. Sherman, how can I deal with SCPs outside the facility? Because I see them everywhere. They are constantly just out of ready in the fog and darkness. Well, Hardy Tooth, it is important for you to call for backup. If you see things and you are alone, get an agent with you pronto. What's your opinion on SCP-427? Useless hamster, I don't remember 427 off the top of my head, so let's have a look and hope I'm not horribly disappointed. The Lovecraftian Locket. Spherical, ornately carved locket made of polished silver material. Place after placing SCP-500 into 914 on fine. It regenerates cellular damage, but if people wear it for too long, then they ended up with flesh beasts. So, I like it as a nice little monster manual piece. It doesn't have much of a story, but it is an interesting object, which sometimes you need a good, interesting object as well. I think it's good that it does like enough to be interesting. That it doesn't really need so much of a story. If you want to write an SCP without a story, you need to be very, very interesting in what you've made. And the fact that this has pulled SCP-500 into 914 to create a new anomaly and it doesn't work well and it hurts people, that does a lot of the heavy story lifting on its own. Jack, how would the Foundation contain Titans from Attack on Titan? So, it wouldn't be the first time we dealt with kaijus. There's definitely some kaiju-sized anomalous entities that we have dealt with. In fact, we even have a How Would We Contain Siren Head video here on the channel. But the problem is that there's so many of them. So if we were dealing with the Titan situation, the Foundation would fall pretty easy. That would be an XK situation for sure. Dr. Sherman, what would happen if we removed 096's face? Para the pineapple. We just talked about 3350 and its ability to reshape bodies. Conceivably, we could use 3350 to reshape 096's face. In fact, we could make him Handsome Squidward if we wanted. And maybe Handsome Squidward SCP-096 wouldn't want to do the murder because now its face looks great. Oh, there the chat jumped again. Gosh darn it. Dr. Sherman, if you say Slade, I will subscribe. Well, I guess have fun with that subscribe button. See if it does a little glowy business. I've been hearing they've been implementing that explosion of saying subscribe on YouTube, which is fun. Little sparkles. Love sparkles. Love pretty lights, pretty colors. As you can very well see. Dr. Sherman, great live stream. Well, thank you. Good office hours tonight for sure. If the Serpent's Hand found a United Nations aid camp, would they attack it or no? Since it's not Global Occult Coalition, but it's still the UN. No. The Serpent's Hand is much more targeted than that. They don't mind the UN in general, just the GOC wing. And honestly, the Serpents aren't as likely to do attack raids. They'll come in and steal things, but they're not as likely to go on the assault. Not like the Chaos Insurgency. So yes, they're not going to hit a United Nations aid camp unless there's something anomalous to steal. Dr. Sherman, I think my poster is an SCP. What do I do and how do I double check if it is an SCP? Weird authors gotcha. How would we see if your poster is an SCP? Well, is it doing anything? Is stuff happening? Let me know if stuff is happening. Transgamer, what if you gave 682 to the GOC? Well, either they would succeed in destroying it and we wouldn't get to study it, which is frustrating. We do not trust them and their weapons to do the job because 682 is one of the few anomalies that we are trying to destroy because it is so dangerous that we just can't keep it around. But they're a little bit of a blunt instrument, so we don't really think they're clever enough to get the job done. Ann Kayame. Dr. Sherman, I hope you're doing well tonight, but one question: if the Mandela Catalog by Alex Kister was an SCP, how would the Foundation contain it? So, the problem with the Mandela Catalog as a SCP-like story is that for us to contain something like that, the problem is that they change history, like from the beginning of history, and they've kind of like always been around. So it's weird how normal they are by comparison to most anomalies. Now they're violent, they're going to murk you, but it's not like they're abnormal. The cops know about them. Normalcy's been breached. So if the, what are they called? The others, the alternates. If they are normal, then they're not the SCP Foundation's problem. That's pretty much the first starting point, that we have a problem there. But also, it's one of those things where they are so widespread that they definitely be Keter class. There's no way we could have a solid containment for all of them. We'd be constantly amnesticizing people who encountered them. So yeah, something that widespread, unless it's just in that one city. Do I recall it's just in like Mandela County? If it's just in Mandela County, then it's easy contained because we just lock down that county and we wipe it off the map and we say that nobody lives there. Don't go in there. Nicole, are SCPs real? Serious question. SCPs are not real. We are just a creative writing community with a fun sense of kayfabe. Just like going to the Renaissance Fair and having a good time, we wear our costumes and we have a good time acting and playing along, but if you ask if it's real, we're going to say no. Because there was that time where the Slender Man, those kids like tried to murk their friend because they thought Slender Man wanted them to. And so we no longer take kayfabe that seriously because we don't want bad things to happen to people. We can still have fun and suspend our disbelief without putting people in danger. The Shadow, thank you for your first dono to the Site 42 coffers. Make sure to give yourself some black licorice on your way past the commissary. What would happen if 096 and 682 fought? So we have run this test and we couldn't get them to fight because as soon as 682 sensed 096 coming, it despawned all of its eyeballs. So it couldn't see. Therefore, it could not see SCP-096's face. So we just couldn't get them to fight. Otherwise, both of them take damage. They take a lot of damage, but they both take damage. So I think it's a coin flip on which one wins. I think 682 has the edge just by being bigger and quicker to regrow. But that's just a guess. Scorpion asks, Dr. Sherman, what will happen if SCP-999 was put in the back rooms? Well, it would wander around like a little slimy boy and probably be attacked by weird things, and it wouldn't really care because it's a slimy boy. I don't think much would happen with that, which is why I don't want to prove that test. My posters have been watching me wherever I go in my room. It's staring at me. I can tell because the eyes move. All right, so is this that thing where the eyes follow you? Because then that's just like an optical illusion and you don't have to worry about it. But if the eyes are moving, you may want to, I don't know, put the poster away. Dr. Sherman, you should check out a game called Our Way Down. It's an SCP-inspired game. I'll take a quick look at the page for it. Our Way Down game. It's a walking simulator, but the game can be finished in 25 to 40 minutes. Doesn't overstay its welcome. I see Elf, and I see some soldiery guys. Explore an SCP facility with a friendly monster girl. All right, interesting. You are suddenly spirited away to a dark plateau. Here alone you probably die, but someone else is here sharing your peril. Perhaps together you can find a way out. All right, that's definitely got the vibe. Like SCP, you'll enjoy this. Well, that puts it right on its face. Yeah, haven't heard of that before now. Woo! We've reached the 90-minute mark. So, I forgot about SCP-682's bones. Let me check security real quick before we start wrapping up stream. SCP-682. Camera feed. Well, all I'm seeing is a knocked down door. So I'm assuming that's not a good sign. So, with that, we are going to sign off, and I am going to go figure out what the hell's going on with that. So, very quickly, I hope you've had a good office hours. Let me run this down to the ending moments. Remember that it's up to you to learn the most you can about SCP so you can become a good researcher or agent or mobile task force member, or security member, you know, there's a list of things. Just do good studying, okay? That's the most important part. You got to use your brains, unlike the person who was supposed to find 682's bones. Meanwhile, fill you out. You can check out my favorite SCPs. Remember, I don't say my SCPs that I've written are my favorite, because that would be cheating. My favorite SCPs are as follows: 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, and 5320. I'll say it one more time. 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, and 5320. Now, if you want to read my SCPs, you can, of course, go to the link in our bio and check out the SCP author page that I have for the SCPs I've read. While you're there, make sure you become a channel member or a patron, whichever one you prefer. We do both platforms, so you have your choice, and that will help us keep making more and more SCP content. I point out that once you get off this set with me, you should head to our newest video, which is a reaction to the Find Us Alive SCP podcast by good friend of the channel, Radiger. I very much enjoyed episode 1. We're going to keep doing episodes of Find Us Alive reactions, especially because they're up for a podcast award. So make sure you go to the link in the description of that video and vote for them so we can have SCP podcasts winning national podcasting awards. That'd be really cool. But in the meantime, I am going to... Okay, just don't die. That is what you need to be doing, security. All right. I hear you. Okay, so go watch the Find Us Alive reaction. Go watch Find Us Alive. Vote for them in the rewards, the podcasting awards. And I will see you all in the next video. I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.